ghouls, guys, gals, and any other life forms that may be streaming this broadcast. You are now listening to Storming the Unknown with Ashley Storm, where we have hauntings, UFOs and extraterrestrials, cryptids, serial killers, and dark history, all under one freaky little roof. A gathering place for the morbid curiosity to come and play and learn about the deepest, darkest parts of everything weird. Feast on this smorgasbord of everything supernatural and brace yourselves as we go storming the unknown. Here at Paranormal Bully Busters, we have paranormal teams all over the world using their social media platforms to help. Here at Paranormal Bully Busters, we have paranormal teams all over the world using their social media platforms to help raise awareness for the Stomp Out Bullying campaign. Bullying comes in too many forms. Please remember to be empathetic with one another, whether it be in person or online. We spread crisis resource management information as well. If you or a loved one need help, please use these numbers and websites. They are all 24 hours, so help is always available. Remember, you are loved, people do care, and we are here for you. In the words of Thomas Merton, the whole idea of compassion is based on the Good Friday, Fair Peoples. I have Nick Simons and Erin G. Thompson from 28 Days Haunted on Netflix and Ghost Criers PI LLC with me tonight as we celebrate Season 4 of Storming the Unknown podcast. Thank you guys all for listening for 4 years for some reason. You're crazy, but I appreciate you. Remember, same thing goes. If you guys have any comments or questions for the gentlemen, just leave them in the chat and we'll get to them as soon as we can. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves a little bit, and then we will get started. You guys can paper, rock, scissors for who gets to go first if you want.
Not it.
I feel like that's your thing.
Rocks never failed me. All right. My name is Aaron G. Thompson. 28 Days Haunted. I've been doing investigating and afterlife research, as I like to call it, since 1999.
That's a long time ago.
It was another century, my friend. It was the end of last century.
It was a different millennia.
It was so crazy. Times then were dark and fuzzy on the TV screens. But yeah, I ran into the big guy down there about 10 years later, and the rest is history. We did some stuff. We're still doing some stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna do some stuff.
You bet.
Yeah, like Aaron said, my name is Nick G. Simons. I started
what the G
investigating,
stands
and that's what the G stands for. I started investigating in 2009 when my wife, who was working with Aaron, said, "Why don't you take Nick? He's as big as a door." And the rest is history. We started out doing residential investigations, and a few years went by, and we ended up going right into headfirst commercial investigations and videos for YouTube. Hi, Tom. This is my first time being interviewed on this show, so we're in this together. Stay tuned, buddy.
Here we go.
We did commercial investigations and recorded them and put them up on YouTube, and then bam, next thing you know, we're on a plane to Connecticut to film this show that we had no idea what we were getting into.
That's where we're going to start off, though, because again, Nick and I weren't friends on Facebook until I think Monday, right? But yep. I've been friends with you on Facebook for quite a while.
Classic Nick.
And you went like kind of silent for a while. And it was like...
They said it couldn't be done, but he finally did it. Went silent.
The thing that was on my mind was like, these guys are on a show. That was the first thing when you hadn't posted in like months. It was like, I'm going to be away from. I was like, these motherfuckers are on a show. And then they can't tell nobody. But I'm so excited for you. How did it happen?
We're super stoked. You know, it was quite a process. And the funny thing was with Nick and I, we've been through half a dozen plus, you know.
Look at her up there just frozen.
Am I frozen?
No, Ashley's frozen.
Oh, that's a great pose. I'm screenshotting it.
Yeah. Quick screenshot it.
We should all make a pose. Yeah.
Here, everybody make a pose real quick.
I'm going to look at it. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Continue. Perfect. I'll just interview you.
Yes, that's good. Thank you, Nick. So it was a long road that we took.
How'd you become such a handsome gentleman? That's what inquiring minds want to know.
Well, it was pizza. A lot of pizza.
A lot of pizza.
So much, and cats. I love cat. Oh, it looks like we kicked.
It is just us. All right. Hey, buddy, I haven't seen you in a week.
Yeah,
thank you for coming on to my show.
I like your beard. Should I do some underwear push-ups?
Yeah, I grew it out.
Okay, so I had to just use my phone. I told you, internet technology stuff does not like working for me. Watch this.
We behaved ourselves, by the way.
My brother is fixing everything.
Hello. Russian space station mirror right there.
My brother is fixing everything now.
We totally behaved ourselves, by the way, actually.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I cannot hear you.
Why not?
This is horrible.
Can you hear
on.
Oh my God. I heard that, Nick. I think
what is happening right now?
That was phenomenal.
This is excellent. So, Nick, it was a long road. Long road.
It was a long road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
It's just
Get
us
out
again.
of here,
So if
actually.
you're just tuning in, welcome back to the Roundtable with Nick Simons. My guest on the show tonight is Aaron G. Thompson. Aaron, why don't you start off with telling them the after midnight version of what the G stands for?
Hey guys, the G stands for. I can't. Because that's my spot. That's where I go.
That is the spot.
Yeah, that's where I go. To make things happen. Ectoplasm everywhere.
Yeah, ectoplasm.
Oh my gosh, it's in my eye. It's okay, guys. Oh, Ashley's back.
Okay, now I can hear you.
And then I found Jesus. Oh, hi.
Oh,
what the fuck is happening? I have no clue what's going on. This is basically run of the mill, though, for my show. I always have tech issues. On investigations, I'm not even allowed to hold equipment because things go wonky.
Classic.
So this will be fun. Perfect. Thank you so much, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to switch in real quick. You guys can continue with your Jesus spiel.
Oh, well, we figured it out.
All right. We'll see you in a minute when you come back.
Excuse me. So Nick, 7 months.
7 months.
7 months it took us, I think, right? 7 months it took us to pretty much do the show from first interview to airplane out. Am I right? It was a long process.
Well, hell, she's gone out. And that's how they put the door handle back on after the doctor removed it.
I know. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was great information.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's back now. I don't know if that's...
Perfect.
Man, you look fantastic.
Well, thanks. Now we can try and do this again. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, yeah. So how did it happen? Yeah. How, out of all the people, because this seems to be the thing with TV shows, is the teams are just randomly contacted. It's not like you guys are even trying, or you're not submitting work to be seen or anything like that. It's just basically someone come across your work, like, hey, you'd be a good fit, and then reaches out to you. Is that how it happened with you guys?
Actually, they needed a model, so that's why I came in. I was Nick's stunt double, actually.
Yeah.
So when he did the nude scenes,
Aaron's a model,
I would do some push-ups.
Yeah.
Actually, it did come our way. We were just living life, pandemic-wise. It was early 2021, and I got a phone call from someone in Chicago that had this opportunity for us, and they said that I want you to go, forward and talk to this production company. And we need one more person. I go, I only know one more person really that I'm comfortable with.
And that's my daughter, Gwen.
But Gwen said no. I was like, wow, rude. So somehow I ran back into Nick. And Nick was like, yeah, doing nothing better to do.
Nothing else going on. Actually, the pure luck on my side. Just it's all about who you know. That's kind of how you become a brain surgeon. It's all about who you know.
And it really is. It's just being consistent. I think passionate, like just doing it to do it. Don't look for that. I don't know, that show or whatever. But you were saying, Nick, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
You ass.
No.
So yeah, I was just at work one day and Aaron called me up. Hey, you want to do this interview with this TV show? At that time, it was just TV show producers. And I was like, yeah, why not? This would probably be the 30th interview we've done with producers, because 99 times out of 100, you do one interview and you never hear from them again. We did an interview about a show that was going to take place on an island somewhere in the Pacific. And
They ghosted us.
yeah, they ghosted us.
I've never
Adak,
even
Alaska.
seen one, so I don't think that it even
Yeah, it probably never
got
made.
made.
It probably never made the cut. But
The
I was
pandemic
just saying,
kicked in.
I mean, we've done interviews with a dude from New Jersey. I mean, it just, so I went into this thinking that, yeah, whatever, we'll, entertain these guys for an evening and then never hear anything again. And so we do the interview and, hung out for a little bit that night. And then it was that was in March. Then June hit. And then they're like, guess what, you guys? You guys made it. And we were like, what do we do now? We were like Ricky Bobby. What do we do with our hands? Yeah.
And the funny thing is that Nick's being so humbled, or maybe he just wasn't aware of how far we went in all the other interviews. We actually, I want to say at least 95% of the production company or the show pitches that cross our path, the producers wanted Nick and I. We've moved forward so often. It was the producers that couldn't sell it to the networks that we kind of hung on. I was actually, Nick, were both of us in an exclusivity contract for 1 year that just locked us out of anything fun for a year? Or was that just me? I think I screwed myself.
With what?
I locked myself in an exclusivity contract. I think we both did with Two Cats. We locked ourselves in an exclusivity contract. And
I wouldn't say their name, buddy.
Well, too late.
He said it, not me. So don't come.
Oh, we're out of contract. It's fine. They're a production company.
Yeah, don't come looking for me. But yeah, it was like we agreed to do a show or something for $1 a piece. Here you guys go. Thanks.
And then you couldn't take on any other work.
We couldn't take on any other work that was like a paranormal show. So mind you, no one's looking at us to be vampires that sparkle. So we're like, you would make a nice sparkly vampire, Nick.
Spank you.
You're welcome.
Now, for 28 Days Haunted, I have not gotten to finish watching it because I'm a binger. And if I don't have time to sit and binge through something, I won't do it because I feel like I gotta give this my all. But from what I saw and what I kind of not Googled, but did some of my own research, it's basically, so do you guys use all of the Warrens' trainings and experiments and things like that, or were you guys allowed to do just whatever? How do the Warrens play into that? Because that's what keeps popping up is the Warrens.
Well, I'll let Nick kind of explain some of the stuff that we did because it's fascinating. But real quick, I just want to add what I found out kind of recently, and I'm sticking with this, is there's only 3 characters in the show that people have to recognize. 3 characters. People are like, what? But there's so many, 3 teams with multiple. No, 3 characters. They're each location. That's what the show's based on. It's the reaction of the location to the attributes, which are Nick, I, Sean, and the other investigators. We are all limbs of this overall body. And so if you look at it through the lens of, the houses are the characters, then the show becomes a different beast. If you're looking for data, because we got some phenomenal data, it's not a traditional ghost hunting show. We're not going to present this, and this, which kind of sucks. But it was neat to see the house react the way it did over the time period. So correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. It's 3 characters.
Yeah. 3 locations and Aaron G. Thompson.
You bet you, Randy Travis. And what type of stuff did we do, Nick? Give it to him.
We did nothing that dealt with the Warrens. I mean, the Warrens are very unique in their own rights that they have so many experiments and investigation styles that they like to do themselves. But as far as us, I mean, we were just doing everything that we've always done and then some. I mean,
how does the show link into them though? Because that's what people keep That's
The
all I keep
show
saying.
is linked in with the Warrens due to the 28-day cycle theory that it takes 28 days for yourself to become
Gotcha.
fully engulfed, swallowed whole, breaching the veil of a haunting.
Which
And
we were already on something similar. You know, I know I use a term. I'm sure you've used it with the build rapport with a location, or you've probably even done the same, Ashley, with your investigations. The more you hit a location, the more capabilities of it interacting and reacting to you is very, I think, on par with that 28-day cycle. 28-day cycle is just a bit more extreme because you're living it. Yeah.
I definitely feel that because the asylum is like that. I've owned it for 3 years now, and from the day we walked in to now, how much it's changed, how much it's grown. And I really agree with the fact that the locations itself should be the stars of the shows. It shouldn't be about, oh, well, I'm getting my name out there and, you know, look at me doing this investigation.
Look at me doing push-ups in my room in my underwear. I get it.
Look at the spirits. Look at the energies that are still here for us. They're the real stars of all of this, and we're just cannon fodder and there to help tell their stories.
Right.
And it should definitely be more geared towards that aspect rather than the, look, I can hold a REM pod for 7 days.
Good REM pod holding. You know, Nick's fantastic with his, and I'm sure you'll say the SB7, his tool of choice, I would say. And everyone, if you notice, you probably have a tool of choice too, right? People tend to gravitate towards something they're getting more and more familiar with. Some people have a little more of a treasure chest, and we do, but we do hang on these specific tools. And I feel like the tools itself can be like a location where the more you use it, the more the practice becomes reacting in a sense that you're getting more data and you're getting more response from that tool because you're more comfortable with it, whether it's consciously or you're giving yourself some wave that we can't see that's telling people, hey, use this a little bit more, whatever the case may be. We go down that path. But yeah, Nick's years and years of using SB7, both of us, but with Nick specifically, I mean, what he catches on that device is unreal. And there's some stuff, sadly, that isn't going to be seen by people due to the edit that he caught live. That was just fantastic, and he'll get it again. But yeah,
we'll get it again. I mean, I already got stuff that I recorded on Saturday night. Aaron's baby girl was with us because it was a kids' night out ghost hunting event.
She was fantastic, by the way.
Aaron had brought one of those light up balloons, and the balloon's sitting on the floor in front of her, and she's like, "Move the balloons, ghosts! Move the balloons for me!"
Like at a dance party.
And I said, "What color's the balloon?" And the SB7 kicks down, and it says, "It looks like it's blue."
Wow.
Couldn't hear that live. I was able to hear it in post-production. So that's
cool.
That's an insider tip for all the kids watching, that even though you see a lot of people on TV and on YouTube that do SB7 live and you never see anything else from it, go ahead and hit it in the post-production, because there is so much more potential to that device that you're just leaving in the dust when all you do is sit there and do it live. And it said there's mosquitoes in here. That's it. And there's way more that's being missed.
And that post, I think, really separates, an enthusiast to an actual hunter or investigator. And if we, label on up, it just gives someone who has more passion for what they do. I mean, I'll straight up say it. You can have a lot of passion and just do those live things, and we've done those. But you're always trying to figure things out. And that post game, that's a skill set.
So location wise, is there any particular type of location that you guys like investigating better?
Church.
So like jails, things like that. And second part, do you feel like it's because of the actual spirits, not just the feel of the locations, but maybe a kind of camaraderie that you feel with particular places? Because like I know for me, asylums and places like that are my favorites because I feel more connected. He keeps dropping out. I feel more connected to those people because I myself suffer with mental illness. You know what I'm saying? So going to
Right.
places that we kind of resonate with more.
You'll have
Not
to
saying that like we have favorite locations because all of them are awesome, but it's
Is there a
we
specific type of location, Nick, that you feel personally that's more reactive to you personally? You know, I'll let you go first, and I can take it after you.
Well, let me start with apologizing that I keep dipping out.
You're good.
Don't
It
you
seems
apologize.
like after about like 10 minutes, my audio, it sounds like you guys are like coming through a distortion pedal for a guitar, and all I hear is that just
Actually,
do
what
a
I'm saying.
quick refresh and everybody sounds crisp and clean. Is there a specific location that I'm drawn to more than the other?
A type. It doesn't have to be like, it could be a named, but yeah, something that you feel is more reactive to the research.
For me, and I'm speaking kind of on behalf of Aaron on this one. I mean, we've literally gone to a park on a Sunday afternoon, the sun's out and the birds are chirping, and we're getting compelling responses to the questions that we're asking at the park on the SB7 related to the park, related to the picnic area of the park. So I am open to anywhere that we go being, a good location. We did an old trolley station in the middle of the woods that, is grown over and fallen apart. And Aaron's like, how much is the trolley? And the voice comes across, says, it's just a dime, see?
Which historically is in context, which is fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick a place, I'd probably say like, hospitals, asylums. There's just so much stored energy in those places that, can be harnessed to tell those individual stories of the people that you might run into there, as far as the spirits of the building, not the actual like people that you might run into, homeless people or whatever. But there's definitely greater energies there. And I don't want to say it's easier to have an active investigation at places like that, because
it's not practice.
Sometimes it is hard, but on that same hand, we can go to Renwick Mansion and have an investigation there, and it's just a boring night compared to like what we would have at an Edinburgh Manor or a.
Wow, way to name drop, Nick. All you Renwick fans out there. No, it's
yeah, or a Crown Point jail in Crown Point, Indiana. There you go.
And bounce off what Nick was saying. There's a lot of reactive locations, and from my data gathering and from what what I've put together and practiced on is the areas that have that emotional impact, right? The emotional bleed. Those are those main areas that have the haunts, where you got the battlefields, the graveyards, hospitals, churches, and like 5 top ones. I can't remember the 5th one, but anywho, church. By far, you go into any church, if you're able to get into the church, crazy.
Go.
Crazy. It's fascinating.
I agree. One of the coolest places I've ever investigated was a church that they had us come out and do. It was actually one of the first places I investigated. And
all this emotion that's stuck there, right?
So it's just surrounded by a cemetery too, which most of them are. Yeah. So you have to think about that adding to that kind of. I hate the word portal, but it's really like an eclectic mix of energies, just all kind of forming its own.
It's intense.
Vortex either, but yeah, it creates its own little pool of energy.
Ooh, watch out! Someone don't be in the pool.
I'm in Ashley's pool. Help!
Get Nick. Just stand up, Nick. Just stand up.
Stand up, buddy.
You're in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell.
The funny thing with like cemetery and the added energy and all that stuff, I do think a lot of that goes to our own I guess biological magic mixing with consciousness scenarios where we throw intent we assume, or we have intent that something's there, something's bigger, something's more of a portal, something's more demonic, something's more this, and this. It's crazy the power that I feel we have when we start practicing, say, ghost hunting or afterlife research. So we can make places, I feel, more haunted than they ever were. And we see things, and in time that just creates an overall stain of a narrative that is emotionally driven, associated with some subatomic particle connectivity things, but more jargon on my end. But yeah, ghost.
Nick, you have the floor. To piggyback off of what Aaron was saying there, I mean, I think as investigators going into 2023, a lot of people are getting away from actually investigating and just rolling up to places expecting to be thrown across the room, dragged up the wall, and drug across the ceiling like that scene in Freddy Krueger.
Happens like once a year, guys, not often.
As investigators,
careful.
Okay. I saw your crotch, buddy.
Good, you lucky? That'd be $5.
He has pants on this time.
Crotch. And my crotch.
My OnlyFans camera. That one.
As investigators, we need to, come back down to earth out of the clouds, and really go into our individual investigations, not expecting anything at all. We've seemed to shy away from that, and expected everything to be the worst case scenario everywhere we go. I've done it for a long time. Aaron's done it for a long time, even before 28 Days Haunted. I mean, 28 Days Haunted, the day they picked us up, they said, all right, we'll be there shortly. And they showed up. They had Sean. We got to meet Sean for the first time, put these damn blindfolds on, got in their Suburban, and drove. We didn't have a single idea of where we were going, who we were going to see, what we were going to do, where they really taken us.
Were you really blindfolded?
Yeah. We were blindfolded.
I was getting out at that point. I watched too much Forensic Files. Y'all got me fucked up.
And I'm like, who's holding my hand? Who's holding my hand?
We didn't even know the name of the town we were in until day 28 when we were driving back to the hotel by the airport.
True. We knew a state we were going to 3 days before film.
Yeah. Congratulations, you two are going to Connecticut.
So I guess the next part, well, to kind of play off of what you said, though, is I think that the preconceived notions that we go into with every single investigation, especially those locations that are notorious, like Waverly, Villisca, all of those places that you hear the stories time and time and time again of the same exact entity, or people being pushed, you hear that same name being called, things like that. Let's put him back on again now. He's back.
No, we should just kick him off. We should let him go. Let him fly away.
Stories.
Yeah.
We keep capturing this name, and this name keeps coming up, and So that when you go into an investigation, that preconceived notion of, oh, these people are experiencing this, then you're in an EVP session, right? And everyone is, oh yeah, there's a spirit named Blake here. There's a spirit named Blake here. There's a spirit named Blake here. But then you're in a session and you hear the word rake, but you don't actually sit there and pay any attention. You don't go back and check. You don't cross your T's and dot your I's because you're like, oh, well, we just caught Blake because everyone else catches Blake. And then you go back and listen to it 2 months later and you're like, oh, well, he was just talking about a rake. We didn't actually catch Blake. Like little things like that. And you can actually create your own. Like I feel like a lot of the locations we've created, the ghosts that reside there, like the story of like they brought it up last night, the Madison Seminary, Sarah. We're basically creating our own little tulpas in these locations because we're putting so much energy into thinking it's just one person, bringing it gifts, telling its story time and time again. And I've noticed a lot in the home investigations that we do. About 80% of the home investigations that I do, it's basically thought form entities these people have created from their failing health, their poor mental health, just a lot of stress going on in their life, the clutter that's around them. So they've actually created their own haunting. And so just by cleansing their space, both metaphysically and physically, and then getting them the help they need, whether it be medical help or mental help, things like that. And they're like, oh, we've never had another, the haunting's gone. And it's not really a haunting. We're so powerful. We're creating our own demons and our own ghosts. And I feel like that should definitely be more at the forefront of our field of awareness, instead of just going into everyone's house and being like, it's a demon because you have a portal in your bathroom.
Now, since you're kind of talking like forward thinking, Nick, this is the only thing I'll say my little bit here. Makes me very unpopular, but I know I'm doing it. I think, unless there's some people that are biting onto what I'm saying, one of the minority, if not the only one, who says that ghosts and spirits actually do not exist in the context that we feel that they do. They tend to be a biological reaction of the consciousness separating from the vessel upon expiration, leaving an echo or a smart photo, kind of like an imprint, of course. Yeah, like Grandma's perfectly fine, but Metallica got it right. The memory remains. So, because that's all emotion. Emotions. When we pass away, we don't take our hair follicles. We don't take our clothes, our arms, our heart, the organ. We don't take any of that. So why would we think as a human race, as Homo sapiens, that we would take our lobes that are 100% biologically created, hate and love, their emotions? We create a systematic scenario throughout life so we can give value to what we do, since we're like, but what if the data that I'm gathering and some experiments actually that people haven't seen that are going to be pretty awesome in the near future, prove positive to this. Then if that's the case, and let's say, we can go deeper, but ultimately the meaning of life would then say that we are here to feel the biological emotions of what we're in, whether it's a specimen of a blade of grass, a fish, or Homo sapien or extraterrestrial, then love, right? Love would be kind of why we're here, to enjoy that moment, because you're at peace or you're at a null state when you're outside of this in a consciousness scenario. We know consciousness exists because we dream, and that's very paranormal. And we also think.
I kind of agree with you to an extent, because I've always said that I call it leveling up. We shed this corporeal skin and then we turn into the purest. We're an energy form. This, like, regardless of the meat sacks we wear, we're an energy form. And when
but what's energy, right? That's what,
exactly.
Even
and
Einstein.
Where does it go, and how it does not die. You cannot get rid of it. And I think that because of the planes, I think it's like a plane type of thing. Like, we're filtered through to different dimensions, if you will, to kind of like.
Right.
So, like, when we die, that light that everyone says they see, because is that you have a fire truck passing, and there's a fire truck passing here too. There was just one in your background.
In stereo.
Around us. So when we pass that light, I've had a near-death experience. I've seen that light. That's one of the things that I'm most curious about. But I think that's
what color is the light?
It's not a color.
Okay.
It's a
just light,
like a light source, like the sun. Like, it feels warm.
Okay.
You can actually feel it. Like, it doesn't feel like that. It's an actual source of energy that you can feel, kind of like encompassing you. You can actually feel its warmth. But I think that our energy, once it leaves us, or once we shed this, we have the option of filtering through to that other side, so our energy can be kind of like maximized, if you will, and become like. So if an energy source, if anything, is, you guys have watched, oh my God, I can't even think of the name, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
Okay, and if something is not perfect, it implodes until it comes back together as perfect, because all of the particles need to be in place, right?
Sure.
So I kind of think of our spirits that way, that when they filter over, they're the most perfect form that it can be. Now they can come back and forth between the dimensions or planes or whatever you want to call it, but there are a lot of those energies that are stuck here because we grew up with that notion of, you're going to hell if you do this or that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people grow up with the religious backgrounds of you're going to a bad place if you've done something bad in your life. And those people are afraid of what's going to happen because that light is real. I feel like once everyone dies and they're like, oh shit, it's real. Right. A lot of those people choose not to go into it because they're like, I'm going to be judged and I did not repent, or I don't feel like I was a good enough person. And that I really think that it's like it's not God. I don't think it's like a, I like to think of it as like kind of like a monster, an ethereal energy monster.
Let me ask you a question, because I mean, I totally get it, right? We're in the game. With your response or your buildup, or where you think it is, you have to ask yourself: is that an emotional response, or is it not an emotional response? And if it's an emotional response, it's void, which is crazy to think. Again, biology. And this is just, the data that I collected, don't have enough, years of me contradicting my own self.
He's a revolving door of contradictions.
Welcome back. So Einstein, on his deathbed, about 10 years prior, there's an equation that came out that pretty much made and their theories, but he pretty much made like 80%, 85%, something like that, null. And he knew this, including the theory of relativity, which we all bounce on in the world. And I have for, over 20 years. I only took a switch the last few years with a different directive where energy cannot be destroyed or created, only transfer form, because that made sense. That's the only logic that we were working with. It made sense. However, there's something that makes more sense, crazy enough. And there's a fascinating experiment that actually visualizes this. So energy itself, think of it like this, just a twist of the narrative. It can only be perpetually created and destroyed at the same exact time. It's what's in the middle that creates inertia, perpetual motion, gravity, which are all phenomena itself. The in the middle moment, scientists would call it downward flowing ether. When I actually collaborate with the leading scientists of free electricity, and our algorithms actually matched, just different verbiage. I was calling it the mass consciousness. So it seems that there's a mass consciousness. Years ago, through some data that Nick and I were collecting, Nick asked a phenomenal question that we've asked, I myself and him, throughout different investigations, something we don't know. And there was a lot of good direct sayings, but the one that I bit onto and hung on for a year or two before I even put it together, or assumably put it together, was you get sucked up and that's where babies come from. So that sounds weird, right? Super clear. 100 millimeters per second, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, right? So I laughed. I even got me laughing on the video. I'm like, what? But I hung on to it because it was 100 millimeter per second. It was a very clear and direct point. So, sure, I'll hold on to it. I had no clue what I'm going to do with it until I started researching more quantumly. And then, of course, alternatively, more ether. And if the energy is all around us, this giant consciousness, then that explains the game of prayer or well wishes, because everything's connected. It's the consciousness. It goes everywhere, cosmical, not terrestrial. So when conception happens, the biology kicks in, boom, you get sucked up because the consciousness is everywhere. And now the vehicle has gasoline and it goes through its cycle until it loops back through again. And
anytime anyone has a baby now, I'm just gonna be like,
that little baby got sucked up. I will never get
that image out of my head now. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
You might get sucked up. I don't know. I'd like to have control on the second suck up, or third, or 18th, or infinity.
Yeah. I got a vacuum over here you can use, buddy.
We went from suck to blow.
Yeah, it sucks and it cuts.
Whoa. Okay, so Darren has a few questions that we'll get to before we head off, because we're only going to do about an hour tonight. I know you guys have other stuff to do. It's a Friday. People want to actually party instead of listening to our dumbasses. Well, my dumbass. You guys are okay.
You're fantastic. No.
Yeah, you're not a dumbass.
Depending. So I'm going to actually gear this towards both of you guys, because Darren seems to be a little bit you know, I don't think he likes you, Nick, but it's whatever. Go ahead and message him after this because he's not asking you no questions.
We talked last night for an hour on the phone, so he got all of his questions for me out.
No, he didn't. I guarantee you, Darren has another 600 questions just waiting for when you guys get on his show. For our paranormal bus stop, every week when it happens, because we only do it once a month, but we all get messages, and we don't do group chats because me, Shay, and Cynthia all hate group chats. But it's, I shit you not, a list of at least 80 to 100 questions. And we only get to like 5 of them each time. But each show is a new topic. So he comes up with another 80, 100 questions for each topic. So trust me, he has more.
The paranormal toddler, Darren Buss. Why? Why?
Fuck yes. I told him that his superhero name should be Captain Questions because he doesn't ever fucking stop.
Why?
Oh. So this will be for both of you. And you can answer in any way that you guys would like. Is there an experiment that you love to do? And what do you want to try that you have not gotten to try yet?
I mean, we pretty much go with the flow. I mean, if we actually create a lot of our own experiments. So if we want to do something, we just like, how do we? I put myself in a bomb. No one's done that. So boom. I actually want to do it again.
That's dedication there.
That's dedication. I'm going to go to the afterlife, figure it out, and come back through the SB7.
Yeah.
He said, rabbit.
He said, get the AED unit. Jumpstart my heart again.
There is, spirit communication is so big to Nick and I. It gives that direct interaction.
He has a question, buddy.
No, I'm going to interrupt you real quick because Fred motherfucking Scheidenberger's in the house.
Oh my gosh, I miss you, Fred.
I love and miss you so much.
Did you see we're on a TV show, Fred?
That guy kicked the hell out of some cancer there.
Yeah, hell yeah. Did. He made it his bitch.
Yeah, take that. He did the Macho Man leg drop on that cancer.
Oh, yeah.
He did a people's elbow on that bitch. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. There you go again.
Hey, speaking of leg drops, I've seen your leg, buddy.
Lucky duck. Screenshot for all you kids playing at home.
Don't worry, this is live, but it can be paused later, guys.
So, since Nick's gone, guys, here's the experiment I want to do. So I want to put Nick in a bubble wrap, push him down the stairs. Oh, hi, Nick. So I want, there's a communication device that I have in my brain parts that I've always wanted to do, and I'm actually going to start building it next week. I decided on that because you awesome human beings have allowed me to give my time back, be with my little girl, do ghost research, make awesome badass rings for you so I can pay my bills, and make experiments. So I'm not going to tell the details of the experiment because it's super weird, but it's going to theoretically make conversation incredibly clear. Once I perfect it, guys, I will share the wisdom. Okay, I'm not going to be like some jerk, buy my thing for $1 million.
Yeah, buy my book.
Just pledge my OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding. I swear I'm kidding. It's like the 8th time I said it.
Buy my book.
Buy my book. I do have a book. It's a child's book. It's a child. Nick, experiment.
Outside of starting a fire in the house, one experiment I would like to do.
Wait, hold up. Backtrack to that. Why the fuck do you want to start a fire? Just
there's
for funsies.
There's all these theories that construction marshmallow theories. There's all these theories that construction amplifies paranormal activity. What happens if you run the risk of destroying the whole house? And
oh god,
there is a conscious experiment done back in the 60s. It's like 60s or 70s.
That's how you have to say it from now on.
I wish I knew the exact
in the 1950s. Then after that came the 1930s.
There used to be an experiment. There's a experiment that you did that they just touch base with a consciousness scenario where they threatened to throw fire on something and they saw a reaction. But yeah, go back to you, Nick. Back to you.
Other than
I
that, I mean, I think it'd be pretty neat to like modify a fish finder. I brought this up last night and I'll bring it up again because it's the only thing I've really been thinking about right now. But you know, there's a snort. If you think about how a fish finder works, a fish finder sends down a frequency into the water, and then it reflects off the fish and comes back up to the boat, and it displays an image for you. I'm wondering if we can modify that to like blow a frequency down a hallway and bounce it off
like
the energy that may be down the hallway.
I asked my stepdad if we could do that. And he was like, I don't know ghosts. And I was like, well, fuck. And I'm not technologically inclined enough. That would be awesome.
When you ask someone that doesn't know ghosts, don't mention ghosts. Just mention anything else. They're on a different wavelength.
I want to blow the fish finder down the hallway and use it to pick up a draft.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's fine.
So,
I was
absolutely
scared to death you were going to start talking about ghosts and that dumb shit.
I like it. You're sold.
That'd be awesome. So he wants to know, do you feel that you guys packed the right equipment, or did you leave something out during your time on 28 Days Haunted?
No, I mean, there's stuff I wanted to do, but I'm glad I didn't because the show, again, wasn't for the experiments.
Yeah.
So hindsight, I'm happy.
I mean, based off of the final edit, I mean, I think we both overpacked. Like it was. Had we known that, I could have just brought all 28 days worth of clothes and equipment in a carry-on bag.
We should do a virgin sacrifice. That's an experiment.
So with that in mind, though, we have about 15 minutes before we head out. Should be enough time. Yeah, we should be good.
We're good.
I have one last question for each of you, and then you guys can go ahead and start plugging all of your work and things like that. So I will start with you first, Nick, because we might lose you in audio again. Who knows? Just saying, nothing wrong, because I mean, I cut out all the time. It's perfectly fine. You're good, bud.
Right on.
So if one thing about the paranormal when you got into it that you loved.
One thing about the paranormal that when I got into it that I loved.
Yes.
That it's forever changing. There's no like, you know, like when you put together furniture from IKEA, it's insert rod A into hole B.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Family Guy reference. Come from.
But there's no written law that's like that. I mean, you could do something and have a reaction one way one night, and then the very next night, it doesn't work that way. It's always changing. It's always fascinating. There's tons of theories out there. Like I was just talking about this the other day. Shadow people. Shadow people are probably my favorite thing to look at right now, because it's always going to be this internal battle in your own head of, did I really see that? Or was it matrixing of my mind? And you'll never have the answer to it.
Or even consciousness interpretation, you know, or this group potentially aware of shadow people? Would they be able to see it more than, say, specimen C, D, and F? Mm-hmm. So, or E is in there.
Yeah. C, D, and H.
Now, what in the paranormal would you say has changed the most since you started?
You, Nick. You.
I'd say probably the thing that's changed the most is, you know, investigation styles. When Aaron and I started out, there was, you know, very much a slew of investigators actually investigating, whereas now you have people just going out and for cheap thrills. Unless you're booking Waverly for the night, then it's not a cheap thrill.
Yeah.
I want to two-man that with you, by the way. Nick, did you hear me? I want a two-man Waverly with you.
That'd be fun.
3 days. 2-man, 3 days. That's what I want. I'm putting it out in the world.
It'd be like Brokeback Mountain. We'd be trying to sleep at night. Like the Scary Movie version. You remember that in Scary Movie? They're like, would you like some? There he goes. Would you like some peanuts? And he goes, what did you say? Peanuts. Would you like some peanuts?
Oh my god. Oh shit, dude.
It would be entertaining. It would be entertaining. Best way to paranormal show.
And the last part of it, what don't you? I guess I can phrase this a better way. I'm trying so hard not to be so rude lately, just because.
You can be rude. You can take it.
Hashtag nice guy.
What about the paranormal makes you disheartened versus when you first started? See, now I was very. My question had to kind of change.
You tell us.
No one ever says how it changes constantly as what they love about it. So that kind of, since it's always changing, you can't not love that part of it anymore. Because most times what they say they love about it when they first started is what they absolutely hate about it now. So it can't be the same for you. So what has disheartened you along the way, would you say?
Probably the disheartening thing is probably all the fights that you see online.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is always changing, and that's just something that we're going to have to live with. It's forever changing. There's going to be one thing that one person agrees on, another thing that someone doesn't agree on. And it's just like, we're all going the same direction. Why are we screaming at each other and calling people dumb and gatekeeping each other? And as Aaron said, sandbagging each other. And it's like, we're all going to the same goal.
Thing. Yeah.
And that goal might be like space travel, you know, where we might not be meant to find out that end goal, but we're all still trying at it and working at it. And I said this on a show, you know, a few nights, a couple weeks ago, you know, I ripped the SLS to pieces on this show live. Talked about all the reasons why it's garbage, this and that, but I followed it up with, but keep experimenting with it.
Yeah.
You know, if we never kept pushing forward with things, like, we'd still be driving around in Model A's. The Model A evolved into the vehicles that we drive today. Because
that should be the beauty of it, is that it's ever changing and that we're still learning and that we're still getting answers and no one is an expert. And it's those people that make it so hard for us. Because if we actually collectively started working together, the paranormal field in itself has been around for like, what, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, like a very long time.
The paranormal field? No, they've been around
together
since 1883. The Ghost Club was out.
It bums me out that I couldn't hear what you were saying, Ashley.
She said that you smell bad and she's kicking you off.
Even though we're all working towards the same goal, the whole, well, you're not doing it right, but you're not doing it right. And it's like, why are we not learning? Science is all about experimenting and failing until you get that one right answer.
Actually,
you know,
the funny thing
then it's not a right answer. You know what I'm saying? Like they think that they know something, and even that in science is ever changing. And it should be beautiful that we all have, everyone processes everything differently. The information as we see it, hear it, even just our taste buds, like everything sensory wise is processed differently through everyone. And if we could collectively work together with that, like you said, it's been around since the 1800s.
Even before that, I just when a club formed
and just stopped.
Yeah, the practice.
Fighting with one another and brought together all of our information, who knows what we could have cracked by now. Like we might all have little pieces that once we put it together makes it to where we can actually kind of start just even chipping away at what we're really looking for.
And the funny thing
refuse to talk to each other.
Right. In the science community, you could tell that someone is kind of just blowing smoke when they say they disprove something. And they call themselves scientists or skeptic or cynic, because disproving is actually not a scientific term. You can never disprove anything in science. You can only prove the existence of something. You can't prove the existence of not. It's just an impossible scenario. You can prove attributes that suggest something else, but you cannot disprove. Impossible. That's why I don't like the word debunk, but debunk is a couple other scenarios. But yeah, disprove. Not a word, guys.
And while we're on the subject of things growing and expanding and ever changing, you know, Aaron said I'm the wizard of the SB7. Well, I was until this year, because now I learned of a new way to enjoy the SB7, and they are
without your pants.
These are the Lucid headphones, and they weren't nothing until, this year I found out about them. People doing the lucid listening technique with these amplified headphones completely changes everything. You can
Are they like my headphones that I wear?
No, they don't have socks on them.
Okay.
But they amplify the SB7 beyond what we're used to hearing, to the point of like you can hear people whispering behind the static and stuff
that's cool.
comes through it. Yeah. And I'm excited to work with them more and really figure out how to do the lucid technique in there.
Cool.
For everybody watching at home, it's lucid, just like it sounds. So you can find them on menards.com. Check them out.
With an exclamation mark.
Menards. Thank you very much. The way the pirate says it's nuts. Menards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I send videos like that every time I'm at Menards. I'll send a video. What happens when you kick a pirate in the balls? Oh, my nerds.
That's what my mom and my stepdad watch NASCAR, and there's a guy who has one that's sponsored by them. So every time he goes around the track, I'm like, "Arr, me nerds." Arr.
You guys are wacky.
Whatever, you are too.
I'm not. I'm normal.
No way, Jose. Okay, so same questions for you, but
I gotta say it in 10 seconds. Thanks, Nick, for taking all the time.
No, you're good. We're fine. What's the thing that you love the most about when you got into the paranormal?
The thing I love the most is, I'll kind of, it's fascinating. It's absolutely the most fascinating puzzle piece that I've ever crossed, ever in my life. It's always been a bigger picture, and I started doing this, last century. Because I didn't believe it existed. I thought that we were just crazy. We were overcompensating for a fear, and we needed a fantasy before we move forward. So I thought we were a bunch of crazy loons, and there's definitely context. And I do wholeheartedly, I would even say that we are immortals. It's just what layers does that mean? What context? So I just find it very fascinating, this field. Yeah, it's neat. It's neat.
What is one thing that you would change?
As a Wienermobile. That's what Aaron wants, is a Wienermobile.
I would love a Wienermobile. Yeah. I would change. It's, oh my gosh, where's the mobile? Peace Prize. The one thing I would change is, just there's a I don't know. It changes so. There's not, I like to do everything like in my control box, right? That's how I control my happiness. So I don't worry about things I can change outside of that box. I can only manage what I got in my own box. So if I think of the big pictures of what kind of change for the whole field, my responsibility, unfortunately, it's not for the field. They could be crazy, going in the right direction or in the wrong direction. I don't care. I got my own box and I'm going this way. So change, I would just say, I don't want people to really change. I want them to be who they are. I think that's what makes us wonderful. I would say,
technique
change the batteries occasionally,
or attitude wise, like the way we treat each other in general.
It's all subjective, I don't take any offense. I get called a lot of things. I don't give people that much power and control over me of my emotions. Just don't choose to. So, they can keep doing what they do, because as they're throwing their haterade my way, I'm doing shit. I'm making things. I'm making waves. I'm moving. They can say, because we got called a lot of things, even with the show. Oh, they should have took so and so. People are incestuous to their own groups, right? So they don't understand outside of that box that there's other potential talent or potential people that've been doing this a hot second. But to us, to Nick and I, we're seeing for the first time by a lot of viewers, and they know their person that they've known for years that's so much better because they're seeing this little edit that we partake in that had no control over. Yeah. So, but at the same time, they're watching us, right? So I don't want to change. I don't want to change their haterade, because their haterade's giving us steam.
Yeah, they brought us on to be buddies, And
Yeah.
they didn't even show us being buddies. They showed us fighting, and then
This is true. And mind you, that was so out of context, honestly. I mean,
yeah.
Nick's always a dick, but
but we know each other. Like we had a little argument there, and
there's a
that's
bigger thing happening behind the scene too.
Yeah,
I think that's any TV though, is that it's always exaggerated and twisted to make it to where it's
Nick,
more.
When that moment I blew up on you that they showed, do you remember what I told you when we left that room? Because I remember it. It was one of the very few things I do remember while actually filming on site. Directly after I said you're sandbagging me and that whole thing.
We walked out there. It wasn't even 5 minutes, and he come up and gave me a hug and nibbled on my ear and said, "I love you, brother."
Well,
I'm sorry.
More nibbling.
And he said, "Is that axe that you're wearing?"
I also added that this part's not going to make the cut. I go, if they do anything, it's going to be that part in there.
Did you just play some light jazz?
I go, I'm just going to do push-ups over here, sit-ups this time.
He said, "You smell like the inside of my mama's purse."
Fuck. No.
Yeah, they do, I guess. But there was a lot. I don't know. I'm happy that that we were able to do this project, and it's definitely going to be opening up doors for us. So, wasn't there one more question though? Wasn't there one more question?
Yeah, but you don't want to change anything about the field, so it's kind of a moot point.
Well, no, I don't. But I do want to say one of the neatest add-ons at current time, development-wise, is actually the pop culture of the TV show, giving so much awareness to people that didn't think that this was a thing. So it's there's a lot of static, a lot of noise in the field, right? But there are like these gold nuggets, these diamonds out there that are really doing some hard work, some really good work, and questioning it. A lot of the people that are those diamonds are probably watching this right now. It's those people that care about this, that see that this is something that's normal, and they can go ahead and pursue it. The TVs gave that, whether they're fake or real or this or that, whatever. It's not going to change the field. The thing that's going to change the field is someone stepping up and actually changing it. Action, you can talk and yell and blah, 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 fake all day long. Do real stuff, Don't drink that haterade. But I think the TVs, the show really allowed the field to gather some really awesome people.
I'd like to add that Ashley and the dudes that sing Jesse's Girl are the only people I know of that use the term moot.
I did catch moot. I like that. I like that. Or if you're watching Friends, then it didn't think it was called the moo point.
It's a moo point.
It's a moo. It's like cows, They don't care.
It's a moo point.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or have I haven't been hanging out with them way too long that I understood that?
That's awesome. Thank you. That's cool. Come on, I knew you would.
Oh, Friends is amazing.
I feel like we're friends, guys. I feel like we're friends. We need a coffee shop.
Yeah, we need to get together sometime.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a location, guys.
Is it haunted?
Are you being for realsies with me right now?
Yeah,
I own the Broken Bow Asylum, right?
I didn't know that's the place.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were talking about a coffee shop.
No. We can have coffee in the asylum, though.
Yeah, he thought all these years.
For us.
He thought all those years of you advertising Broken Bow, you were just really, really, really a fan of that Travolta movie where they have that plane. Was that Broken Arrow? Yeah, he mixed the two up.
Yeah, my bad. I understand now. Thank you.
I'm just saying, guys.
She likes that John Travolta movie, Broken Arrow, a lot.
I don't. It's a good movie. I like Face Off.
Face Off is the shit.
Yeah. Who knew their body types were the same too? That's a movie magic.
What's that?
Nick and I, we should do Face Off.
Yeah.
That's so So we're gonna go ahead and get the promos out and everything. The next two slides that I'm going to show you guys, one of them is for the cancer fundraiser we're doing on December 17th at the Broken Bow Asylum. One of my really good friends, Pat McClellan, he was recently diagnosed with colon cancer. So I'm doing a overnight fundraiser investigation for him. It's $100 per person, but it's from 2 p.m. to 8 in the morning. And even though it says 8 a.m., that's just because I have to put a time on it from the city. But you guys are welcome to stay however much longer you'd like. I'll be out there for another 2 days. But you guys can just stay if you want to donate. We have the links on my webpage as well, on my Facebook site. Their Cash App information is there too, as well as the GoFundMe link. I'm going to pull this up real quick. So give me 1 second. Let me move the comments. And the banner. Ooh, okay. So here you can purchase the tickets from Venmo or Cash App or PayPal. You can also pay cash at the door. This is in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. I know that a lot of you guys probably aren't familiar with the area, but that's fine. You guys can go ahead and, like I said, go to my Facebook page, and all of the donation information is there, so you can donate directly to Pat and Cammie. This is the flyer with the available dates that I have left for the Broken Bow Asylum. I only have 4 dates left in January, 1 date left in March, or 2 days left in March, 1 in February, 2 in April. June is pretty open, and August, 2 days. So you guys can see that. Go to Broken Bow Asylum on Facebook, and the info is there as well. And before we head out into our paranormal bully busters and everything, would you guys like to go ahead and plug? I know you have your rings and everything, and your book, and then you have your podcast, all that stuff, and other events you guys have going on. So go ahead and plug everything before we do our crisis resource information slides. Please and thank you.
Oh, shit. Nick, I want to go first.
Go first.
Hi, everyone. My name's Aaron G. Thompson from 28 Days Haunted. And I now make these luxury glow rings because as a ghost hunter, how cool is it to glow in the dark when you're hunting? Also, my rings have some of them, depends, meteorite, moonstone. I do memorial rings, which are phenomenal.
I'm giving him background music.
Yes, and it's actually really cool. It's allowed me to pay my bills and do the research off the exposure. Thank you, everyone. So I appreciate that. I do have a book. I'm not sure if I want to reprint the book. I'm still gauging on that, but it's a child's book, a children's book. Boo-hoo, a Ghost Criers story. It's adorable. It has Nick's mug in it, my mug, a couple other people's. It's about a child who finds identity. And lastly, I'll give you a spoiler alert. This is still in the development stage, but it's totally going to happen. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. I didn't sign anything yet. But there in March, I got some things coming up. One of them, both West Coast, or no, I'm sorry, East Coast. East Coast location.
This is Sarah McLaughlin. For just 50 cents a day, you can adopt a sick or sad kitten. In the arms of danger. Then that puppy would always be like,
how could Sarah McLaughlin get me every time?
Fine, take it away, Nick. Just know I might be doing some cool things next year.
Go ahead, buddy.
No, I'm just getting my tour, some places, locations. One of them is going to be talking with the lead of Paranormal State.
Wow!
Thank you, Nick.
There you are.
To Nick.
To me.
Nick time.
Time for Nick. Hi, everybody. I'm Nick Simons. You can see me on the TV show 28 Days Haunted, streaming now exclusively on Netflix. Unfortunately, I will not be doing push-ups and underpants. That would be
maybe next season.
This guy over here did push-ups and underpants.
I've been working on my glutes.
Yeah.
For my fans. So it's close up shop.
He's available to be hired for a nutcracker. He'll come over to your house and crack all your nuts.
with Christmas.
Yeah, with a Christmas nutcracker. Nothing dirty. You can find me on the internet at Big Nick Simons. I'm
mixing it for you.
Thank you. Quick, I got to do a story time. So in July, we were flown out to Los Angeles to do some voiceover work for the show, and that's where I got to meet the rest of the cast of the show, and I got to meet Jeremy Leonard, who was in the Madison dry goods store in North Carolina. And long story short, Jeremy Leonard and I figured out that we were probably the most redneck hillbilly out of all the cast. And we kind of bonded over that. And we've been chatting every day on and off since, that day we met out in Los Angeles. And it was decided that we were going to start a paranormal show, a paranormal podcast called Paranormal Gumbo.
First of all, it's pronounced Paranormal Gumbo, bruh. I'm going to need you to.
Paranormal Gumbo. Paranormal Gumbo.
Northern shit.
Yeah. Paranormal Gumbo with andouille sausage. And it was his idea, not mine. So we'll be doing that. And it's not going to be all, on the show. He was very religious. This is going to be lighthearted. And it's just going to be him and I screwing around talking about all topics you can think of that happen to do with paranormal, weird stories, things like that. And look for that coming out soon. I also started a snack company. I'm going to be serving these freeze-dried crabs. You can buy them on my website. I got crabs. I got crabs.com, and you can have all the freeze-dried crabs that you want. I'm just joking. Those are from Korea. I just got to build up the balls to eat them.
Classic crab story.
I got crabs.com. Clip that and use it for a soundbite. All right. Yeah, but the 2023, we have a couple of investigations coming up. That's about it. I don't know if we could talk about them yet. There's some that have Aaron and I with them. I know people are excited to try to use us to sell tickets, and I'm completely fine with that. Because
I'm trying to get in your garage there, Nick, so we can talk about setting up an actual tour. But
of the garage?
You can't come to of your garage. Like, you can't come now, Aaron. You can't come now. I'm like, man. So soon, when I sit in a room with Nick, I'll see about doing a little tour thing. It'll be 28 days of haunted locations. So
98 days haunted.
90. Oh my God, no. They can't pay me.
Well, thank you guys so very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys go check out Ghost Criers PI LLC on Facebook. Do you guys have a YouTube as well?
Yep. You just jump on YouTube and look up Ghost Crier, and you can see all sorts of sweet, gnarly videos of us investigating around the Quad Cities area, Iowa, Illinois.
We'll start building up that page again, guys, with some new, fresh stuff, because we're back in it.
I'll tell you what.
We never left.
There's an interesting video. What?
Go ahead.
Oh, there's an interesting video on there. If you do go to the Ghost Crier YouTube page, look up Soink Cemetery. It's a cemetery that in the Great Depression era, they actually exhumed everybody out of the cemetery. Part of the WPA project. WPA at the time during the Great Depression era was just a reason to give guys work to do because nobody was working at that time. So they exhumed all these people up, moved them to a different cemetery. And this cemetery, Soink Cemetery, is now a field. And Aaron and I rolled up and aux corded the SB7 into my truck stereo system. So we made the world's largest ITC device.
Yeah.
It's worth a watch. It's pretty interesting. Some of the responses that we did get. At one point, it sounded like somebody was outside of my truck banging on the windows. And this is in the middle of the day. It's pretty cool. Give it a watch.
I will make sure that I add all of those. I'm just making sure I have all the links to add to the comments real quick. Yes. So you guys, I will make sure that I finish adding the rest in a bit. But when you go back and replay all of the links for all of their media, I'll make sure I even add your personal stuff and your fan pages and whatnot to that. That way they can see it when it's on Spotify. You guys can also catch this on replay audio. It's iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, and Spreaker. We also go live on YouTube, so you can watch there. I'm going to go ahead and run through our Paranormal Bully Busters slides real quick, the crisis resource information, and then we can sign off.
Here at Paranormal Bully Busters, we have paranormal teams all over the world using their social media platforms to help raise awareness for the Stomp Out Bullying campaign. Bullying comes in too many forms. Please remember to be empathetic with one another, whether it be in person or online. We spread crisis resource management information as well. If you or a loved one need help, please use these numbers and websites. They are all 24 hours, so help is always available. Remember, you are loved, people do care, and we are here for you. In the words of Thomas Merton, the whole idea of compassion is based on a keen awareness of the interdependence of all of these living beings, which are all part of one another and all involved in one another. To donate to the Stomp Out Bullying Foundation, please visit stompoutbullying.org. To make donations to any of the other crisis foundations, please visit their websites. That way they can continue to provide these resources for us. Thank you very much.
All right, and with that, remember guys, there are crisis resource information platforms all over, but you can find it on our Paranormal Bully Busters page. Every single crisis that you can think of, we have a resource line for you. It's 24 hours. They are all free and completely confidential. Most of them even have texting lines now that will not charge you fees for texting. If you don't feel comfortable verbally talking to someone, please maybe just use the text line. Please reach out to us, but remember that these people are trained professionals that can help you with your situations better than we could. We are always here to listen, and you are very, very cared for and very loved. In these holiday seasons, especially after COVID, we have so many people who do not have loved ones with them anymore. So let's take time to just be more kind and more patient with one another as a whole. And thank you guys very much again for coming on the show. Is there anything that you guys would like to leave with everyone before we hit the road?
I just want to say thank you, Ashley, for having us, and thank you, Nick, for being awesome.
No, thanks for having us on. You're a ray of sunshine, even though you like to act tough.
I'm both. It's fine.
I'm both.
But thank you guys so very much for coming on. And remember, guys, if you want to find the secrets to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, and have a wonderful weekend.